So today we do have packets now. We finally got our copies came in. Mrs. Hill and I were a little bit lazy and we didn't get our copies in right away. So we didn't get to get them back right away, which is fine. So that's why you guys were on single sheets the last couple of days, but now we're back into a packet. So we'll be out of that for a while, and then what else? Today we're going to go back to graphing lines out of a table. Our goal is to get away from the tables tomorrow, but we got to refresh our memories on graphing lines as it is. Sorry, I'm digging out 18 different spots of homework that's been turned in and all that fun stuff. If you haven't turned in H1 or H2 yet, make sure you get those turned in as soon as possible. And you can start on the 2 warm-up problems if you haven't done so already at the top of your page. I don't know. What's the first thing we're going to do in number 1? If I want to solve for y. Actually, before we even do that, I'm going to change my first question for you. What do we want our answers to look like? If we want to solve for y, what's it going to look like? Remember from yesterday. We wrote it down. You got your note sheet from yesterday? We wrote it down. When we're solving for y, we want it to look like. Wait, yes, you did. I see it now. What does it look like? No, what's the other side? Y equals. Yeah, y equals. So we want to get y by itself, right? Right? Okay? Right? Fine. I'm going to do first. We're going to subtract 3x. 3x from both sides? Okay. That makes that go away, right? Okay. Okay, what are we left with then? After we subtract 3x. I think what I heard you say was negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 8. Is that what you said? Okay, all right, that's good. Pacha, next step. Where? And? Hold on, what if I bring negative 2? It starts with E, ends with very where? Starts with E. Starts with E. Oops, I'm going to get the marker again. It starts with E and ends with very where? Get it? Everywhere. Okay? So we're going to divide by negative 2 everywhere. So that means I got to divide by negative 2 there. I divide by negative 2 there. And I got to divide by negative 2 there. Okay? Alright? Yes, sir. What do we get? What's our final answer? Okay, that's good so far. Which one? Is it negative divided by a negative? Is that positive or negative? So it'd be positive 3 over 2. Okay. And then what else are we missing in that one? X. Okay. Well, it depends. Okay. Do I like the fraction 8 over negative 2? Can 8 be divided by 2? Yeah? How many times does 8 go into 2? Or, how many times does 2 go into 8? 4 times? Okay? But one's positive and one's negative. So negative 4? Okay, so would I still put the plus sign? I put a minus sign. I put minus. Okay. Will, first thing in number 2. Subtract the x. Gives me 3y equals negative x plus 7. Chloe. What do I have to do for all of them? All I heard was do 3, and I don't know what do 3 is. We don't have an operation in math that's do. There we go. I knew it was a D word, but we had divide by 3 on all of them, or everywhere. Right? Okay? Ash, talk to me. First one. Y equals. Okay? What do we got next? Would it help if I did this? If I put a 1 there. Okay. Then is 3 going to 7? So what are we going to think of? So positive or negative? Positive. Is it positive divided by positive? Okay. Now, you had actually said Ash in there. I wrote it differently than what you said, but I would also accept here. That's how you said it. Okay? You know, being the exact same thing. Okay? Alright. So, we talked last unit all about slope. Anybody refresh my memory what slope is? It's a rate of change. Yep. More specifically, Will, it's the rate of change of what? Which one?
Probably
the line. Yep, I like the line better. It's the rate of change of a line. Okay? Wyatt, we had talked, we had broken that down instead of rate of change of a line, instead of 6 words, we broke it down into 3 words. What did we break down slope into 3 words? Rise over run. So remember, when we have 2 points on a line, our rise is here. And our run is there. Okay? And that would be a positive one, run. If our points were this, then we would have a negative rise because we were rising down. We still have a positive run. Yeah. With me? Love it. All right. What we're trying to get to is we're trying to get to tomorrow. What we're going to do is we are just going to graph a line by plotting 1 point on it and then using the rise over the run. And we're going to show you where that is today we're going to figure out in the equation where we can find that. Okay? All right? So remember, it's rise over run when we get to it. Okay? So we said that we had 4 different kinds of slopes then, right? Okay? We had an uphill slope or a positive slope. Okay? We had an uphill slope or a positive slope that would go up and to the right. We had negative slopes, which go down and right. We have zero slopes those are our horizontal lines, and we have undefined slopes. Those are our vertical lines. So that's the 4 different kinds of slopes that we can have. Okay? Okay? So now we're back into the chart. Y equals negative 2x plus 3. 2 examples today. Okay? So we want to complete the table and we want to graph it. Now when we go to graph it, we want to use something straight. Now if you don't have an ID or your own ruler or something like that, I have some up here that you can come up and get when we get to the graphing part. Okay? We said back in the last unit that we would always start with by plugging in 0 into our table. Okay? Jake, we're up to you. Where am I going to plug 0 in? Right, so I set my x as 0. What am I going to do in this next column? Where am I going to put 0? In my x spot, right? So then this is going to be y equals negative 2 times 0 plus 3. Right? Okay? Love it? Plus 3. So my y value here is going to be 3, because negative 2 times 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3. Okay? So, what point did we just find? Remember, a point is x comma y. 0. What's this thing in between? So what's the point? 0 comma 3 is the point that we just found. Okay? Follow-up question to that. Okay? X is left and right, right? Y is up and down, yes? Okay? Where do I go? Give me 2 directions and 2 numbers to get to the point 0 comma 3. Just up 3? Okay? Yeah, because we did from the origin, right? Okay? So we're going to go up 3 from the origin. 1, 2, and 3. So that point should be on everybody's graph right now. Okay? Michelle, do you remember last unit what we did next when we were graphing? Actually, this may have been 2 units ago. What did we do? You got it done on your paper. What did we do? Can I peek into your paper? I'm going to write what you have written on your paper up here, and you're going to explain to me your thought process. Okay? All right? You have written. Did I get the order right? No? Did you go -2 first and then -1? Okay. I couldn't remember. I can't remember everything. What did you do? No, you haven't done it yet. You just this part right now. That's all I want you to explain. Why you chose those 4 numbers. Just cause? Just cause? Did you do it because you chose 2 negative numbers and 2 positive numbers? 2 numbers on the left side of 0 and 2 numbers on the right side of 0? Do I have, or do we have to choose those 4? Could have chosen any numbers that we wanted, as long as 2 were on the left and 2 were on the right. Okay? Love it. So now what we're going to do is so first off, I see my good friend Bryce up here is already getting over here, and he's already going, and he's putting points in. But we could do this, right? Because we just picked the x values. So that means we picked all of those first parts of those points. Yes? We just now got to do it. Austin, you pick one of the 4, and you're going to do it all the way through. +2? Okay. So that means you're going to do what? -2 times 2. -2 times 2. -4 plus 3. That is -1, yep. So that gives me the point 2, comma, -1. Agree? 2 directions, 2 numbers to get to the point 2, comma, -1. The directions are left, right, up, down. So I want to plot this point. How do I get there? From the origin. Right 2, down 1, and I put a dot right there. Love it. Okay? 70, you get a choice of 3. +1, okay? So that's going to be y equals -2 times 1 plus 3. -2 times 1. Plus 3. No. Remember, so we're at -1. So here's 0, right? We're at -1, or -2. Sorry. So the reason I thought -1 there. And I want to add. Which way do I? When I add, which way do I go? Up. So that would be -1, 0. So I started here and I went up 3, right? Right. Okay. Some of the decimal have it still on there. So I started at -2, and I got to go up 3, right? 1, 2, 3. Push me at 1. Yep. Okay. So that's going to be the point 1, comma 1. 2 directions, 2 numbers to get to the point 1, comma 1 from the origin. Got them? Axes are left and right. Right, Seth? Right? Okay, so which direction is positive 1? Right 1, and then which direction is positive 1 for the y? Up 1? Yeah, so we're going to go right 1, up 1. We'll put it down. You get a choice of 2. -1, right? Just so you'll get a choice. Okay. Actually, I'll give you the choice of color. Now, -2 times -1. What? -2 times -1. Because it's negative times negative, right? So positive. Positive 2 plus 3. 5. So this is the point -1, comma 5. 2 directions, 2 numbers. To get to the point -1, comma 5. Left 1, up 5. Ready? And you want to choose your color? I'll even give you the good color now. So you want to get close. This one? Which of these 3? We're going to go back. It's a little darker. Okay? -2 times -2. Positive. Positive or negative? Because negative times negative. Yep. Positive 4 plus 3. 7. So that's the point -2, comma 7, which is right there. Right? Okay, so now here is where those IDs or the sides of your paper or another piece of paper or a ruler come into play. Okay? So this is where we want to draw straight lines so we can use lots of stuff. So that one, that one, that one, that one. Comes through right down there. Yes? Okay? Now, we just learned that the slope of a line is the rate of change, is the rise over the run. Okay? So let's figure out now from the graph here now. Anybody remember what the symbol for slope was? Or what letter slope is? Anybody? M. Yep, it's the letter M. So from the graph, our slope, M, is rise over run, right? Well, we just graphed 5 different points on this line. So my slope is going to be, I haven't used purple yet, my slope is going to be, I'm going to go here, and then that puts my here. So this is my negative rise. How much did I rise there? 1, 2, 3, 4 down, right? I rose 4 down, so that's -4 is my rise, and my run was +2. Do I like -4 over positive 2 as a fraction. Gotcha. What do I like instead? I like negative 2 instead. Now, where else do you see in this problem a negative 2? Where else in this problem is there a negative 2? I would say here, right? Right? There's a negative 2 right there. But that's not part of the problem. That's part of our work. Right here, the negative 2x. Right there. Okay? Those are always going to be the same. Okay? The slope of your line is always going to be the coefficient of your x term. Okay? It's always going to be that number out in front of your x term. Okay? What I'd like you to do now is I would like you to do this one. What should the slope of our line, after we graph it and we check it, rise over run, what should the slope of our line be with what we just learned? 1 over 3 should be 1/3. Okay? Prove it. Prove it to me. Go. All right, so we're choosing negative 6, negative 3, positive 3, and positive 6. Okay? So if I plug those in, I got y equals 1/3 times negative 6, then minus 2. 1/3 times negative 6 is negative 6 divided by 3, which is negative 2. Negative 2 divided, or minus 2 is negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3. Should be down. Y equals 1/3 times negative 3 minus 2. 1/3 times negative 3 is negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. One-third times 0 is 0, minus 2 is 2. See how we have a rise of positive 1, and we have a run of positive 3, just like we predicted before we did the problem. Rise over run, so that's going to give me our slope here. Rise of positive 1, run of 3. So without even doing this one, I could just go rise of 1, run of 1, 2, 3. That point is going to be right there at 3, comma, negative 1. Check it. Y equals 1/3 times 3 minus 2. 1/3 times 3 is 1. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. Checks out. I could do a rise of 1 and a run of 3. 1, 2, and 3. Go through that point right there. That would be 1/3 times 6 is 2. Minus 2 is 0. Now, one thing I noticed towards the tail end of the last graphing unit was we had lines that looked like this. Does that go through the points that I just graphed? No. Okay. We had lines that looked like this. Does that go through the points that I graphed? No. Take the extra 1.5 seconds to make sure that your ruler is lined up with your point, or your straight edge is lined up with your point, and draw them in nice and